A flower does not look sideways to compare. It simply blooms in its own appointed time. Likewise, a person is truly at peace only when they stop looking outward to compete and begin turning inward to understand, to cultivate, to awaken. Peace and success do not arise in the noise of the world, nor do they come from approving eyes or words of praise. They are born from stillness and the steady nurturing of one's inner world. When one lives to prove oneself, one becomes bound by judgment. When one lives to perfect oneself, one becomes free. In an age where everyone wants to speak and showcase, the one who knows how to be silent is the one who understands most deeply. Silence is not avoidance. It is the strength of one who has seen through illusion. The Buddha taught, "When the mind rests in stillness, wisdom arises in clarity. When the inside is quiet, we see what we once could not. When we stop chasing the noise, we hear the small but truthful voice of our own being. True strength lies not in conquering others, but in conquering oneself. To master life first, master the mind. All confusion, envy, and anxiety are born from directing the heart outward. The more we crave recognition, the more self-command we lose. Yet when we return to the breath, to discipline, to quiet daily effort, we become as steady as a mountain amid the storm. Those with inner power need few words. Their very presence quiets a room. They do not argue or compete. They simply act, walk, and live by what they believe is right. The wise understand that noise creates no value. Only deep focus and quiet perseverance build real strength. A flower does not bloom to be praised. It blooms because its time has come. So too, a person needs not to prove themselves, only to grow in silence. When you stop seeking recognition, you rediscover peace. When you stop chasing applause, you finally hear your own heartbeat. All greatness begins in silence. No one sees the roots growing only the day the tree stands tall. No one sees the mind being trained only the day it stands firm in chaos. The world may demand you speak, prove, and perform, but you do not need to obey. Choose the way of the flower bloom in silence, shine in self-possession. Peace does not come from the applause outside, but from the stillness within. Each morning when you wake, you do not merely open your eyes. You open a limited reserve of energy, the fuel that defines the quality of your day. Those who understand the way do not ask, "How much time do I have today?" but "Where will I direct my energy?" Time passes, but energy shapes results. It seeps into every thought, word, and action, and if not guarded, it drains away before noon. Certain things quietly steal your energy every day: idle conversations, the noise of social media, people who complain, compare, and judge. They tire your heart, dull your mind, and weaken your will. One who fails to protect their energy is like a cracked vessel. No matter how much is poured in, it leaks out. The wise, however, know when to stop, what to choose, and how to keep space for stillness, letting clean energy flow toward what truly matters. The Buddha taught mind is the source. The world is its shadow. If the mind is disturbed, the world reflects turmoil. Guarding energy means keeping the mind pure, turning it toward what nourishes, not what depletes. Invest it in study training, meditation, and in relationships that make you wiser, deeper, calmer. Do not waste it on arguments, gossip, or proving you are right. Your power is not measured by how busy you are, but by how focused you can be. One mindful minute outweighs an entire day of haste. Those who understand this live, selectively, choosing whom to meet, what to do, and which thoughts to nurture, because they know energy is life's true currency. To lose it on the meaningless is to shorten the lifespan of the soul. When you say no to distraction, you are saying yes to peace. When you leave places that drain you, you return to nourish your roots. Guarding energy is not selfishness. It is the self-respect of one who knows the worth of life. No one can grant you peace if you keep letting others touch your mind with their chaos. Learn to stand still in a crowd calm amid the noise. When your mind is settled, energy restores itself. When energy is full, wisdom blooms. The strong are not those who do the most, but those who remain whole amid countless distractions. Like a lamp in the wind, they do not go out, for they have learned to shield their flame from meaningless gusts. Energy is your greatest treasure. Use it wisely, and you expand. Waste it, and you fade. So before you ask, "How can I succeed?" ask instead, "Where am I letting my energy flow?" Silence is a language only those with inner strength can understand. In a world where everyone rushes to speak to prove to assert themselves, the one who chooses silence is the strongest. For they do not need words to display their worth. They express wisdom through composure. The deeper a person is, the fewer words they need. The shallower they are, the louder they become. Noise only stirs confusion. Silence clears the mind and calms the heart. The Buddha taught, "Those who do not contend are naturally undefeated." In silence, we cease to be puppets of emotion no longer led by others' words. We discern what is worth hearing and what should be ignored. Humble silence is a mirror of wisdom. The clearer it is, the more truth it reflects. Those who cultivate the mind know that not everything requires a response. Some things, the more you speak of them, the more you lose. Only stillness preserves what is true. Silence is not weakness. It is the mark of a soul that has transcended the need to prove. You do not need to explain yourself to be understood, for those who wish to understand never require your words, and those who are stubborn will twist them no matter what you say. Thus, silence is not avoidance, but a choice for inner peace. When you master the art of silence, you begin to hear more the voice of your own heart, the pulse of life, the soundless harmony of all things. In stillness, wisdom arises. In noise, it perishes. The one who knows when to speak and when to be still governs their own energy. Every word spoken is a measure of energy spent, and only the wise know when it is worth the cost. Silence is also a form of dignity. When you speak less, your words carry weight. When you do not react to provocation, you cause others to quiet themselves. When you refrain from joining meaningless arguments, you preserve both peace and clarity. The truly great, from sages to leaders, have always known that while words can influence, it is silence at the right moment that compels reflection. Do not rush to respond or to prove. Let your actions and your integrity speak for you. Let your calmness be your answer to all chaos. The world may be noisy, but those who truly understand life smile quietly in stillness. For when you speak less, people listen more, and when your heart is quiet enough, the world itself falls silent. Motivation is the wind, discipline is the sail. The wind may shift or stop, but a structured sail keeps the boat moving forward. Those who rely solely on motivation live in fluctuation, fired up today, discouraged tomorrow, because they act on emotion. Those who rely on discipline act through structure, and thus they go far, whether under the sun or in the rain, whether inspired or weary. The Buddha taught, "The mind leads all things." When the mind is trained in discipline, every action gains lasting strength. Discipline is not self-punishment. It is freedom, at a higher level, the freedom that comes from self-mastery. A truly free person is not one who does whatever they want, but one who can choose not to do what they desire. They know what is necessary and act upon it, even when emotions disagree. That is the mark of an awakened person. They do not chase excitement. They act from purpose. A good system is a safeguard against temporary weakness. With structure, you no longer need motivation to act. Right actions become natural, and wrong actions become difficult. If you want to read more, keep your book where you can see it. If you want to exercise, prepare your clothes the night before. When your environment supports your habits, discipline becomes reflex. The world glorifies inspiration, but those who achieve greatness revere repetition. They do not wait for emotion to strike. They act so that emotion follows. Like a river that wears down stone, not through strength, but through constancy. The successful differ not by talent, but by persistence. If you act only when you feel inspired, your life will be as short as a passing breeze. But if you sustain rhythm, laying one brick after another, you will eventually build a fortress. Remember, motivation gets you started, but discipline carries you through. Feelings change daily, but the systems you build keep you steady on the path. When you live by principles, each day becomes a ritual. When you act without needing reminders, you surpass most of humanity. Discipline is the foundation of all wisdom, for only the disciplined mind is calm enough to see what truly matters. Do not wait for inspiration to move you. Act, and inspiration will follow. Anyone can rise by emotion, but only those who master balance through discipline can stay aloft for long. Every time you say yes to something meaningless, you are saying no to yourself. A person's downfall rarely comes from a lack of opportunity, but from too many distractions. We often fear rejection, fear displeasing others, missing out, or being misunderstood. Yet the more we try to please everyone, the further we drift from our true path. The Buddha taught, no one can walk two roads at once. Those who wish to go far must travel light. Saying no is not coldness. It is wisdom, the wisdom to know what is truly worth keeping and what only burdens the heart. Each day we are pulled toward countless trivial things, noisy news, empty social invitations, relationships that drain rather than uplift. They consume time-scatter focus and leave us weary without knowing why. The wise know when to stop. They understand that serenity lies not in doing more, but in choosing well. Just as a gardener must pull weeds for a tree to grow, you too must remove what chokes your life. Without pruning, nothing valuable can flourish. Have the courage to cut away toxic relationships, stagnant habits, and tasks done only to please others. Saying no does not make you smaller, it makes you clearer. In the path of wisdom, letting go is a form of liberation. Not letting go of everything, but letting go rightly. Those who cannot release are bound by life itself. Each time you refuse what is wrong, you make room for what is right to enter. When you stop proving, stop engaging in every debate, stop playing every role, you begin to return to your natural state, light, clear, and at peace. The weak fear disappointing others. The strong fear losing themselves. You don't need to appear everywhere or please everyone. You only need to stay faithful to your direction. Better to walk alone in clarity than together in confusion. When you dare to say no to what is false, life begins to say yes to you in the right way. Do not fear offending someone. They do not live your life, nor will they bear the cost of your choices. The boundaries you set are not walls, they are protection. Treat your time and energy as sacred temples. Not everyone should be allowed to enter. Every time you say no to what is not yours, you are saying yes to peace, focus, and freedom. That is the art of living of one who knows where they are going. The world sees only the results, rarely the journey. People admire the blossom, but forget the cold nights the seed endured to sprout. Every success has a hidden side, places without light, without applause, filled only with sweat, discipline, and solitude. That is the dark work, the unseen labor where you forge yourself when no one is watching. And it is there that true inner strength turns to steel. Masters in every field understand this law. Before shining, you must first live unseen. Like a seed buried in soil, unseen by light, and unheard by praise, it still grows quietly, inch by inch. People crave the harvest, but avoid the sowing. They want glory, but fear the darkness. They forget that stillness and obscurity are the forge where character and resilience are born. The Buddha taught, there is no path to wisdom that does not pass through discipline. In solitude, we learn to hear our inner voice. In repetition, the will is sharpened like a blade. In silence, the mind grows bright, like the moon breaking through clouds. Dark work is the trial of those who truly seek growth, not to be seen, but to be worthy of themselves. When you devote yourself to silent labor, you are freed from the lure of quick recognition. You no longer crave acknowledgement because you know you are evolving. Real strength does not come from praise. It comes from every early morning you rise, every moment you resist, laziness, every small action done without witness. The beauty of this process lies here. It separates you from the crowd, yet prepares you to stand strong among them one day. Do not fear obscurity, it means you are building foundations. Every tower is rooted in darkness before reaching the sky. The world may not see your effort, but the universe does. It records every moment of perseverance, every instant you wanted to quit but didn't, and when the time is right, your results will bloom as naturally as spring that cannot be hidden. So, love your solitude. Love the work no one praises. That is where you truly mature, where you meet the strongest version of yourself. Work in silence, train in the dark, and one day the light will call your name. Not because you chased it, but because you have become it. The world does not lack voices, it lacks souls that can listen to themselves. People are loud not because they have much to say, but because they fear that silence will reveal their emptiness within. The noise of life judgment, comparison, criticism, praise is like a fierce wind that sweeps away those without grounding. Those who depend on others' reactions will always waver, but those who master the art of silence amid chaos hold the power of freedom. The Buddha taught, there are no enemies outside, only those within the mind. Each time we react, we lose energy. Each time we try to prove ourselves, we step away from our essence. The wise do not argue, explain, or seek to win every debate they win through composure. When you learn to discern what deserves your attention and what does not, your mind becomes clear like a windless lake, reflecting everything attached to nothing. Not every battle is worth fighting. Some attacks are merely echoes of those who do not yet understand themselves. Some opinions are not worth a single breath. The more mature a person becomes, the less they react, not because they feel nothing, but because they know nothing is worth losing their peace for. Ignoring the noise is not indifference. It is awareness, knowing that attention is energy, and you do not waste it on the trivial. Let your mind be like a still lake. When no stones are thrown, it mirrors the sky. But when you keep responding, the surface never settles. The wise do not rush to justify themselves, for they know truth needs no defense. Results, character, and time will speak louder than any argument. Let your outcomes become your answers. The truly great do not need to prove they are right. They simply are through action. The serene do not need to persuade. They simply live what they know to be true. Each time you choose silence over reaction, you hold your power, for the one who controls their reaction controls the situation. Noise will never cease, but you can learn to walk through it untouched. Do not let your heart be dragged by words or glances. When you stop reacting, clarity arises. When you no longer need to prove, freedom begins. The less you react, the more power you hold, not the power of dominance, but of mastery. Be still as a mountain in a storm, calm as the moon among clouds. The peaceful do not need noise to shine. They simply stand steady, bright, and still. Every seed has its own season. You sow today not to reap tomorrow, but to become worthy of the harvest when it comes. People grow disappointed not because results never come, but because they wish for them before they themselves are ready. The world rushes. Everyone wants to succeed fast, to gain fast, to be recognized fast. Yet the law of the way does not follow speed. It follows ripening. The Buddha taught, when the causes are complete, the results arrive, not early, not late, never wrong. Thus the wise do not rush, they remain devoted. Look at the bamboo for 5 years, it grows. Only roots unseen beneath the soil. But in the 6th year, it shoots up dozens of feet in mere weeks. Had someone given up early, they would never know how tall bamboo can rise. Life works the same way. Efforts that have not yet borne fruit are not wasted. They are taking root in silence, building what will endure. Patience is the virtue of those who understand nature's law. To ripen, one must endure. Comparison is the blade that cuts serenity. When you see others ahead, doubt creeps in and you disrupt your own rhythm. but water carves stone, not by speed, but by trust. Trust that every drop reshapes what seems unchangeable. Each person has their own tempo. The pine does not bloom like the lotus, yet it stands proudly among peaks. Do not compare your path. Simply ask, have I moved one step forward today? If yes, that is victory in itself. To trust the process is to live mindfully focusing on each action without obsession over results. When you fall in love with the journey, the outcome becomes a natural reward. True success is not arriving early, but arriving right when your mind is ripe, your wisdom deep, and your virtue strong enough to sustain what you gain. The universe is never late. It only waits until you are ready. When weary, do not quit. Whisper to yourself, I am taking root. When you feel behind others, remind yourself, I am building my foundation. When results have not yet come, affirm, I am being prepared. The process never betrays the one who is faithful to it. Every small step is carving you into the shape of who you are meant to become. Let time do its work. You do yours. Sow, tend, trust, and persist. One day, when all is aligned, the result will bloom, like spring after winter, at the right time, in the right way, for the right person. Do not force the flower to open. Water it daily. Flowers bloom when their season arrives, and success comes when you are still enough to receive it. When you learn to guard your energy, cultivate discipline, stay silent amid noise, and trust the process, you step into another realm, one where you no longer need to prove yourself, compete, or chase validation. You simply become fully present on the path you've chosen. True strength is not about moving faster than others, but about not being pulled away from your direction. In a world obsessed with competition, the one who maintains inner stillness is the quiet victor. The Buddha taught, when the mind is at peace, all things are at peace. When your heart is calm, you are no longer swayed by praise or blame, success or failure. Everything outside becomes a mirror, reflecting the level of awareness within. The wise do not ask, what do others think of me? But rather, is my mind steady yet? For when the mind is firm, the world cannot shake it. Walking your own path requires courage. The courage not to blend into the noise, not to be swept along by the crowd chasing illusions, and to stand unwavering in the values you believe in. The solitude of walking the right path is always deeper than the comfort of following the wrong crowd. Yet within that stillness you find what the noisy world can never offer: true freedom. When you no longer need to be seen, you begin to truly shine. When you no longer crave recognition, you begin to truly evolve. All greatness begins in silence. No one sees the mornings you wrestle with yourself in solitude, nor the moments you fall and rise again, but those unseen moments define your strength. Power is not born from external light, but from the inner flame that you feed daily through small right actions, clear choices, and the refusal to quit. The world will always be noisy. Everyone wants to speak. Everyone wants to be heard. But the wise simply smile and walk quietly, on knowing that truth is not found in argument, but in experience. They do not rush or display. They simply move steady, enduring like a river that wears away stone without a sound. In the end, self-cultivation is not about becoming someone else, but about returning to your true self, peaceful, clear, and sovereign. This path requires no audience, only your presence. Walk quietly, live steadily, grow firmly. One day the world will see you never needed noise to be noticed, for your silence was already echoing far.